It is rotation time, and the gymnasts will move round to the next piece. The two teams, Australia and Italy, are going in what's known as the Olympic order: floor, pommel horse, rings, vault, parallel bars and horizontal bar. So as a result, they will move over now to the pommel horse.
Second rotation.
That's how things stand on the pommel horse so far, with Nariman Kurbanov, whose routine we had the chance to look at right at the start of our coverage.
And vault mix.
He's leading the way on a 14.4.
Austria, Switzerland, Finland and Austria.
Italian team with a
3 minutes warm-up.
Pretty positive start on the floor exercise, and they will have very high hopes for their work on the still rings in due course. Meanwhile, a group of gymnasts making their way to the floor exercise. This is where we'll focus our attention, on the pommel horse as the warm-ups are taking place. Hudson Irwin, chance to have a look at him. USA represented by Alex Diab on the still rings. Diab is this year's NCAA still rings champion. It's a very, very reliable competitor on this piece. Those of you who watch a lot of college gymnastics and NCAA gymnastics will know the standard is ferocious. The crowds are utterly behind their particular institution. It takes an awful lot for an athlete to get all-American status and excel in gymnastics at college level.
Universiade 2019 competition venues are no smoking. This includes
just coming off the rings was Robert Gabriel Guzan of Romania. Best known perhaps for his vaulting work, the Romanian. Quite a few Romanians have been known for their vaulting work over the years. Quite a few Romanians have been known for quite a lot in gymnastics over the years. But what of the Italians? Because it's a bright time for Italian artistic gymnastics. The future highly promising, both men's and women's competition. There are some great athletes coming through. Women's events begin tomorrow with the team competition and the qualifications for the all-around and apparatus finals, exactly as you're seeing now. The only difference being, of course, the 4 events for women. Just to confirm that Australia only entered 2 gymnasts in the floor exercise. So Hudson Irwin did not compete on floor. We expect to see him in a short while competing in the pommel horse. Some of you who watch a lot of team gymnastics will have got quite accustomed to every score counting. Not the case in the Universiade competition, where there is the opportunity to discard a weakest score if necessary. And at the end of the first rotation, then it is Italy in the lead on 27.45 and Australia in second place on 25.7. So a gap of almost a couple of marks so far for the Australians. They've got the opportunity to catch up because it is a long haul of a competition, still 5 more rotations to come.
Pommel horse, Australia, Hudson Irwin. Rings.
So we're going to have the opportunity to enjoy the work of Alex Diab of USA on the still rings, 22-year-old from Hinsdale in Illinois. And he attends the University of Illinois, coached by Paul Hamm. Many of you will remember the 2004 all-around champion at the Olympic Games. And goodness me, this is steady work so far from Diab. Lovely toeic point in the Maltese. And a good shoulder line in the Iron Cross. Jonasson swinging up into the top planche. Just got a little bit of lateral movement of the rings that he needs to steady. He's done that nicely. Oh, it's a beautiful move into handstand. Oh, that was a treat, an utter treat from Alex Diab. Lovely work on the still rings. Yes, he's unsurprisingly delighted with that display. He will be competing on a few other pieces, but that's the one that he's got such expectations of. And why not? Took a silver medal at the Universiade in the US team a couple of years ago. But he comes from a great history of this discipline. His father, Mark, was twice an NCAA still rings champion in 1985 and 1986, and his son has now equalled that.
Ricordiamo che per poter accedere alla finale di specialità del volteggio è necessario effettuare 2 salti.
Great gymnastics family. Diab's brother Max, sister Maddie, they're all heavily involved in the sport and do it so very well. Seem pretty happy with that work. Meanwhile, Hudson Irwin of Australia has scored an 11.45 for his pommel horse routine. Sitting behind Alex Diab is Stephen Nedorosik, other American gymnast. And he really is a marvellous competitor on the pommel horse. That's the only event he's come here to compete. Have to wait a little while to know the extent to which he has done enough, because there are so many other gymnasts still to come. Nedorovic's score was 13.2 on the pommel horse. That's a great score, 14.35 for Alex Diab. That's the 4th strongest we've had so far on the still rings. Ibrahim Jolak, 14.85. Artur Avetisyan of Armenia, 14.75. They're the top 2 so far.
Vault, Switzerland, Martino Morosi.
So to Martino Morosi, the 19-year-old from Blenio in Switzerland. He's competing in the all-around competition. That's a nice vault. Just that step back problematic, but he kept a good clean centre line of attack. All the vaulters who are aiming, or rather all the gymnasts who are aiming to compete in the all-around final, they'll just do the single vault, but any gymnast who wants to be in the vault final will do a couple. That's a good vault though. It's very secure in terms of its execution.
Vault, Finland, Franz Karl, first vault.
13.9
Rings
for Morosi on vault.
Modoyano.
pommel horse preparations for the Italian team.
Pommel horse, cavallo camaniglie, Andrea Russo, Italy.
Michael Tone has scored a 13.95 for his routine. Now to Andrea Russo. Russo, top performer so far for Italy. Very good display on the floor, 14.05. Top score that we've had on this piece. Some good, nice high clearance. Just has to watch. It's a little close to the handles, and he certainly is there. As a result, slightly piking the body, losing a bit of the hand placement, but still fighting through nicely. Little pause as he goes up into the pirouette to finish, and the legs just became a touch untidy, just a touch, as he escaped from that exercise, but plenty going on. Yes, I think that rather says it all, really. Things that were really good in there, things that were not so good. Avoided the perils of the full mark deduction for an unintentional dismount. Nice hand placement there, quick, dexterous work. Just at times he got a little close to the pommels, to the handles there, almost a brush on the right-hand side, and again, and did actually get a bit of a connection with the back of his thigh. So he did very well to avoid coming off, because it is just so incredibly easy to lose the connection and to go. .05 is the score for Andrea Russo.
Pommel horse, Italia, Marco
Saluggerio to compete on the pommel horse. If you're just joining the action, men's team final taking place along with apparatus and all-around qualifications. Australia and Italy are the only two teams out of the 8 competing in this second subdivision. We'll have a full team final taking place in the next. Just slightly halting in some of his work here, Saluggerio.
Rings, Kazakhstan, Milad Karimi.
He's got to get that clearance of the handles because he's going a touch jackknifed. The legs are going slightly as a result. Oh, he's done well to get through that. He's done very well, actually. Marco Saluggerio. He started with a 13.2 on the floor exercise. Saluggerio's score was discarded after the floor qualification, or after the floor part of the team final. It's the weaker of the 3 scores. The teams don't have to submit all 3 routines. Obviously gives them a little bit of breathing space if they do choose to do that, but it's a tactical decision for coaches to make, because they might well want to rest up a gymnast for a favoured piece coming up later. It's all part of the decision-making process.
Last gymnast, pommel horse, Stefano Patron, Italy.
Just to bring you up to speed on what you've missed, Hudson Irwin 11.45 for Australia on pommel horse, Heaththorpe 11.4, and then Michael Tone, a really big 13.95 score. So Australia have got one very strong score, and then they'll discard Thorpe's 11.4. They'll have to take Hudson-Irwin's 11.45. And Italy will certainly be hopeful of picking up some very good numbers in the still rings, which I'm sure a great many of you know is something that they really do absolutely excel at, the Italian gymnasts. Marco Laudadio, probably the most well-known world and European Games medalist. But it is a very young Australian setup. I expect there to be quite a few deductions. Yes, indeed, 11.7 for Sarugerio, only a 3.9 difficulty score. But it's by no means at all his favoured piece. Final Italian to compete on the pommel horse is Stefano Patron. And at the Serie A competition in March, where he was part of the Spes team that took the bronze, he was the top performer for them on the pommel horse. Which is the sort of thing I say just as someone's form really begins to deteriorate, which is what's happened, unfortunately. He's done well to recover this. He's done very well, and there's some nice rapid travel in the Chivados. That's well done from Stefano Patron, because that could have gone very badly wrong right in the centre. That is the relieved smile of a man who might well have thought, I'm not going to get through this at some point. But he did. It could be an important score as well, because Sarugerio's 11.7, they won't want to have to count. Leg separation, such a problem in the pommel horse, not just because of the marks you lose for it, but because it totally interrupts the swingfulness of the routine. So that really was excellent strength. The sun is truly shining on the Italian team at the moment. It's good to be ready for all weathers, isn't it? Now, how important a score is that going to be for Italy? Could be very important. 13.65 for Patron, so now they can discard the 11.7 for Marco Sarugerio, and that brings to a close the second of the 6 rotations in this second subdivision. First subdivision took place yesterday. It was solely comprised of qualification gymnasts. Still, Nariman Kurbanov and Abdullah Azimov, the strongest performers on the pommel horse. Top 8 will go through to the apparatus finals, a maximum of 2 from each country. Harvey Humber, gymnast from New Zealand, seemed to pick up a bit of an injury in the competition yesterday. Still Ibrahim Jolak of Turkey, top performer in the rings. That's no surprise, nor is it ever a surprise to see an Armenian excelling on the still rings. They really are so very good at that. Vahan Davtian performing very well at the recent European Games. In terms of the team standings, we'll come back to that in a moment, because Marco Volter of Switzerland, appropriately enough, is leading the way in a fine example of nominative determinism. Parallel bars come into play, as do the still rings for Italy. In the mini battle with Australia, which we're rather treating like a match play format, even though it isn't, they now have extended an advantage to just over 3 points. So Italy have 54.15, Australia 51.1.
30th summer
Universiade Napoli 2019
It will be
would
Italy to
like
start
to thank all
on the
of
still
its
rings.
volunteers for their time and dedication towards making today's events and the games such a success. Without your hard work, these amazing games would not be possible. Napoli 2019 vorrebbe ringraziare tutti i suoi volontari per il tempo e l'impegno che hanno dedicato collaborando al successo dei giochi.
That will be vaulting.
Senza il vostro
They'll be led by Luca Lapia, who is a vault specialist and will be attempting to qualify for the vault final. He's also competing in the men's floor exercise. And these are the gymnasts on the parallel bars. And look out over the Pala Vesuvio, right in the far east of Napoli. Naples, it's in the Ponticelli area. It is the 30th of the 30 quarters of Naples in the system that's sometimes used for numbering them. Can't go any further east and still be in the city. Stefano Patron, it's been consistent so far. 13.65 on pommel horse, 13.4 on floor. They've used both of his scores. And he is also a strong performer on the still rings. He was very good at that aforementioned Serie A competition. Haven't seen an enormous amount of him at international level. Junior European Championship in 2016 was when he was first really noticed, and it was a very promising setup of Italian juniors. They finished 6th in the team competition, but with a sense of great promise for things to come. And that really, I suppose, ties in rather neatly, doesn't it, with the overall ethos of FISU, the Fédération Internationale du Sport Universitaire. The idea of today's stars lead to tomorrow's leaders. So Italy lead the way, and we still have to come the teams from the nations that will be expected to really contend for team glory. They're going to be very interesting to watch, as we have Japan and the Russian Federation will go round together. Chinese Taipei and the Republic of Korea will go round together, and Canada and France will go round together. So we've got some great action to come in that third and final subdivision. So to Stefano Patron of Italy. This is a piece that he does very well indeed. Let's see if that is prophetic. It's nice stable work into the cross. Super handstand inverted. A super inverted body position as he goes into the planche. First little signs of movement in that handstand. Less so on that occasion. Yamawaki goes up into the straddle lever. He's got some interesting work in this routine. It's quite nicely constructed, and his dismount is stable. Yes, good work from Stefano Patron. Very good work indeed.
Switzerland, Marco.
Can Italy push themselves into a contending position with big teams still to take to the floor? It was maybe a touch asymmetrical on his straddle planche position. That's a lovely straddle lever balance, and if you watch aerobic gymnastics you'll be very used to seeing that position, often with a turn on the competition floor. Will be a deduction for the clear side step on the landing. This is definitely where Italy will be hoping to make some ground on some of the teams that are yet to perform. Create a bit of a margin. And we await clarification on Stefano Petron's score. Top performers so far on the rings, as mentioned a while ago, Ibrahim Colak, the specialist from Turkey. Ahmed Under is also up there in 5th position, but we still have a lot of very good gymnasts to come. So those who are really outside of the top 4, maybe even outside of the top 3 on the rings at the moment, will be feeling a touch of concern.
Marco Sarrogerio, Italy.
Score for Stefano Petron is in, it's 13.2. 8.4 execution score, not the most difficult of routines, but stably executed. Marco Sarrogerio will be wanting a score that really does him justice. His score on floor, 13.2, wasn't counted. His pommel horse score, the same. So perhaps just from a personal pride point of view, he'll want to hit one here that really contributes to the team tally overall. He did make his World Championship debut last year. This is what he was best on. Just a little opening up of the palms of the hands in the iron cross to add some strength. Just a touch, perhaps, juddery as he goes into some of those strength positions. There, for example. Difficult elements to hold. Judges really want to see clarity of hold, that they really do demonstrate they're in command, the gymnasts. He was certainly in command of that dismount. Really well landed, Marco Sarrogerio.
Second vault, Robert Piuzza, Romania.
Jonasson into the Yamawaki, which you'll see a lot in still rings work. The Jonasson is the forward swing in the pike position, the Yamawaki where the knees get tucked in. He piked round pretty tidily into that dismount. Still one more competitor to go for Italy on the still rings, Andrea Russo, before we go over to Australia. Oh, it's a good score for Sarrogerio, 14.05, his difficulty key. That had a real impact, and that's a great moment for Sarrogerio. That's a score that's going to count for Italy. It's going to be of great importance to them. Andrea Russo. So far Italy have delivered a 14.05 and a 13.2. So Russo could put them in a nice position if he can deliver something strong here.
Italy, Andrea Russo.
Certainly they have the opportunity to open up even bigger a gap on Australia. And he's showing very nice control and very good strength. Top planche needs a little bit of adjustment. Not so that handstand. Could have held that for some time. Very tidy swinging. And just had to control the overarch very slightly. Super dismount. Well, they are so very good on the still rings, Italy, and great competitors tend to create other great competitors as they all learn from each other. And Italy have had a very positive rotation on the still rings. Yes, they would have expected it, but they still had to deliver, and they're looking utterly buoyant about that work. This is a lovely moment. It's such beautiful swinging. So very technically sound in his skills. Sometimes when the gymnasts pick up the pace in the Yamawaki-Jonassen combination, they lose the form, but not so with Russo. It really was picture perfect.
Parallel bars, Austria, Vincent Jon Hoek. Rings, Australia, Heath Thorpe.
22-year-old is a student of accountancy, so judges better get this right.
Vault, USA, Alexander Diab.
13.975, very good indeed. Another strong difficulty score. Now we move across to Vinzenz Hoek of Austria on the parallel bars. 23-year-old who studies at the University of Innsbruck. And just a brief glimpse of what he's all about. Two Austrian gymnasts in this competition, Vinzenz Hoek and Alexander Bender. And they are both competing in the all-around competition. Alex Diab,
USA, second vault.
Scored 14.35 on the still rings. Certainly has him in qualification contention. Now this is his second vault. Scored a 14.15 for the first. Diab attempting qualification for the vault final. My goodness me, did he travel a little too much, unfortunately. Hands went down. Untidy landing. But I mean, you have to admire the aggression of the attack. It was a very, very big vault. I'll bring you an update on that score in due course, but there will be a full mark deduction applied for the hand going down. Continue the action on the parallel bars. Alexander Bender, 22-year-old from Graz. Nice, solid Diamidov. A little bit diagonal as he went into the handstand. Lost some form there, but has recovered it quite neatly. Second time at the Universiade for Alexander Bender. And he was the leading performer for Austria in 2017.
Rings, Australia, Hudson Ewing.
Alex Diab scored a 13.05 for that second vault, giving him a 13.6. It's a 13 for Vinzenz Hoek on the parallel bars. That was the first of the two Austrian routines that we saw, just in case you're slightly losing track of it all, which is understandable in a team competition when we also have individual gymnasts attempting to compete. This is a look at Hudson Irwin. For the first time we've had the chance to see him. Very nice extension on the straddle lever. He was fourth in the all-around at the recent Australian National Championships, this 18-year-old. Needs his strength, really needs his strength in this handstand, and he's used it well. Well, he shared the bronze medal with Jack Hall in the rings final at the Australian Championships. And it's really good to see the way he's developing as a gymnast. It can often be that the still rings is the last thing to really fall into place for gymnasts as their strength develops. Confirmation of Diab's 13.05 for the second vault, so a 13.6 average score for him, or combined score indeed. Diab is currently in a qualification position, but not really compellingly. He's the 8th strongest, and we have so many more gymnasts to go as we look back at the work of Hudson Irwin. 13.25 the score for Alex Bender on the parallel bars.
Rings, Australia, Michael Tone.
So for Australia, Heath Thorpe began with an 11.5 on the rings. We've just seen the routine of Hudson Irwin. Waiting for the score for that to come in. So big routine needed for Michael Tone. He's going to have to deliver quite a key performance for them. All the rotations have finished at the moment, with the exception of this final performance on the rings. 12.2 is the score for Hudson Irwin. That's his best work so far in the competition. And now it is Michael Tone.
Come on, Mike. Come on, Mike. Let's go.
Second time at the Universiade for Tone. Does love in his spare time, Tone, to go in search of fabulous cafes. He's a great coffee drinker. Don't think that's going to prove too difficult here in Naples. Touch low in his cross. He very seamlessly brought it back up to full control. Jonasson to Yamawaki. And then showing, again, perhaps a slightly low shoulder presentation. He wins the battle with the handstand. He's just about won that one too. He's dismounted with style and strength. Michael Tone completes Australia's programme on the still rings in this team final.
Third rotation
Indeed,
is over.
brings to a close this third rotation. We're at the halfway mark of subdivision number 2. Still to come, we've got the third subdivision with the teams that are expected to be the strongest performers. So really for Italy in this rotation, or this subdivision, it's about trying to get to a position where they're giving those later teams something really meaningful to chase and to surpass. I think they're doing that. For Australia, it's more about the build of experience. Gymnasts from Switzerland, Finland, Austria, ready to move around to their next rotation. All of the gymnasts very keen to get their routines recorded so they can study it between now and the latter stages of the competition, assuming that they do make it through.
5 horizontal bar, Switzerland, Finland and
we have
Austria.
the all-around final to take place in a couple of days' time after tomorrow's women's team final, and then it's the apparatus finals the day after. I'm sure you've got them all in your diary though, and it is a real pleasure to have your company for this competition for the first day of medals action in gymnastics at the Universiade. And a 13.45 is the score for Michael Tone.
And the horizontal bar.
At the moment, Italy are on a score of 82.175 and Australia 76.75. We still have 6 teams to come, those of you just switching on now and joining the action in Naples. What we've got is a little mixture of team gymnasts, the Australians and Italians, and individual qualifiers. So it is simultaneously a final and a qualification process. And for Australia and Italy, it's a move across to the vault.
For the safety of
those of you who are long-time viewers of team competition, you don't need me to tell you that the vault is a crucial one for a nation to perform well on, because so often the biggest scores come on vault, and it's a real missed opportunity, and it can be so easily a missed opportunity because it's such a short routine. All it takes is 2 of your 3 gymnasts to not make a successful landing, and then you're in real trouble. Milad Karimi doing his parallel bars warm-up. 20-year-old from Kazakhstan, participating in everything. As you'd expect, he won the all-around at the Kazakhstan Cup earlier this year. He's an exciting prospect coming through, and that's what these competitions are about. That's what the Universiade is about, is the chance to see exciting athletes coming through, young athletes, student athletes who combine their work in the sport of gymnastics with their academic studies. A look back at some of the moments of this subdivision so far. And this was a very special display. Just caught glimpses there of Nariman Kurbanov's pommel horse routine. A score of 14.4 for him.
Stop.
Most impressive.
Vault, Australia, Hudson, Irwin. Parallel bars, Romania,
Andrea
Robert
Russo
Chiuzan.
is still the top performer
Horizontal
on floor.
Bar, Switzerland, Martino Morosi.
Jolac still the top performer on rings. In the vault, it is Marco Volta of Switzerland. Parallel bars, top performer Ahmed Unde of Turkey. And he's also the strongest performer on the horizontal bar. He's a gymnast in form on the horizontal bar, having enjoyed success at the European Games. To Robert Gyuzan of Romania. The 23-year-old is from Bucharest. He had to arrest that handstand going slightly astray. It's a nice move into the handstand position. Took his time. Oh, that's a shame. He just rather bounced as he landed. Ended up in a rather costly sitting position. He's competing in all pieces apart from the pommel horse.
Vault, Australia, Michael Thorne. Parallel bars, Romania, Roland Modoianu.
So here's a look back at the work of Robert Gyuzan.
Horizontal bar.
It's a little bit loose in his handstand work. Had a slight compression of one of his arms. Managed to fight back nicely. Decent clearance as he went into the straddle position. Not a dismount that he'll want to see again. Experienced competitor. Score of 11 for him in his second Universiade. Full mark deduction for the sit down on landing. Teammate Roland Modoianu. Gymnast, 21-year-old, is from Rashica, which is in the west of Romania. Just lost his legs as he went into the travel to the halfway mark. And again, just a touch of separation, little handstand adjustment too. All of these things costly to some degree from an execution standpoint. It's got a lovely line in that handstand though. That's a more stable dismount. Quick step backwards to control it. He'll rather enjoy, you suspect, being in Naples. His hometown's got a fabulous Roman history. Obviously, so's this place. Yeah, it's not the tidiest move into handstand.
Second vault.
Just to bring you an update on the team competition, Australia, Hudson Irwin, 12.15 was his score on vault, followed by Heath Thorpe, whose first vault was a 14.1, a really good vault from Thorpe. 12.65 for Modoianu. Thorpe's second vault coming in at a 13.45. So 13.775 for Thorpe in terms of individual vault qualification, but his 14.1, a really good vault score for Australia, the first vault score counting for the team total. Now it's Italy's turn to take to the runway. Very nicely stabilised, good start, Stefano Patron.
Parallel bars.
Well, they've handled the occasion very neatly, the Italian team. They've avoided any major deductions. Haven't really made it easy for the judges to find clear hole marks here and there. It's a good line on the vault. It's not too piked as he lands it. Landing, the judges will probably say could be a touch tidier, but expect this to be a good score. And it is 13.9, a 9-1 execution. 13.95 for Patron. 9.1 execution score, very high indeed.
Italia, Marco Sarruggerio.
Marco Sarruggerio now to vault. Just the one vault for him as well. It hasn't quite been his day in terms of performance across the board. He was very good on the rings, struggled on pommel horse. And that will also be a pretty low score for him. He's drifting away, struggling to control it as he lands a compression on the right leg. It's just not the right sort of landing position, can't really hold that stable. .45 for the vault for Sarruggerio.
Volteggio.
So just one more
Italy,
vault to go for
Andrea
Italy,
Russo.
and it's Andrea Russo. This will bring to a close the
Horizontal
fourth
bar.
rotation, so the
Austria,
2/3 mark.
Alexander Benda.
Russo has been a good performer so far for Italy, and he continues to be. Big roar from the crowd. Enjoyed that a great deal. In terms of aggregate, he's been their highest scorer. Did well to control his landing. He was in danger of being a little bit too piked. Kept it stable and scores a 13.65 as a result. Alexander Benda on the horizontal bar. Kovac was nice and high. Kachev with straight legs. Kachev in the straddle position. Very well-known combination. Gymnast to do one then t'other. Stolder to handstand to Stolder to pirouette is all nicely put together. Good height, good dismount, big hop forward, but a really good routine from Alexander Benda of Austria. only participated in the one European Championships. That was at Bern in 2016. And this has, for some time, been his best piece. He has got some nice release and catch skills in there. Slightly more difficult than some of the gymnasts that we'll see in this competition. Got to get the grips right, these gymnasts, as they approach the horizontal bar. .3 for Alexander Bender, so he's in 6th position at the moment. That is a qualification position, but
Switzerland,
with the caveat that we still have some of the top performing gymnasts to come. Marco Walter of Switzerland. He's been particularly good on vault so far, as one would expect from the 25-year-old from Lerningen. Some good close control work. And dismounts with stability. It's a pretty simple routine, but he's happy to get through it. And that's the key if a gymnast is attempting to get all-around qualification. There's always, or often for gymnasts, a piece that has particular difficulty for them. In that case, it's really just about getting through it as smoothly as possible, minimizing execution deduction opportunities. Did get some nice height on his dismount, no issues with that whatsoever. Very smooth, had nice form. Well, as the athletes move round, we're now 2/3 of the way through this subdivision, with one subdivision still to come today. Gymnasts that will be eyeing very strongly the individual qualification places. Won't be one, the horizontal bar for Walter, 12.875, but that will do just fine for him.
5th rotation.
He'll be hopeful of finals action in the vault, though we have got some very fine vaulters still to come in the final subdivision. Some very good vaulters indeed.
Italy and Australia.
But he's done his job nicely, Walter. Igor Shalenkov as well, a tried and tested vaulter, the gymnast from Belarus. He was very close indeed to having a medal at the recent European Championships in Szczecin in Poland. Italy 109.775, Australia a little way behind them. But it's not a fist fight between those two nations as such. It's really only going to become clear, that score is only really going to be of significance to us when the other six nations compete in a short while. There's the gymnast that will be competing on the floor. Moving round into the penultimate rotation. Jakob Boos of Denmark will be competing on the horizontal bar, be the only apparatus he will be attacking. He's a real specialist in it. Andrea Russo we caught a glimpse of there, who's really performed well so far. 14.05 on floor, 13.975 on rings, 13.65 on vault, 13.05 on pommel horse. It's been a very reliable team display from him. The women's competition in artistic gymnastics begins tomorrow. Exactly the same process. We have the team final and the individual apparatus and all-around qualifications all running at the same time. And then it will be the turn of the rhythmic gymnasts towards the latter part of the games, the last couple of days of the 30th Summer Universiade. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Let's enjoy the moments here, let's enjoy the occasion. Finland, in the sport of artistic gymnastics, are all feeling a touch on the buoyant side at the moment, and any of you who watched the European Games very recently that took place in Minsk, you'll know all about that, because it was a wonderful occasion for Finland in artistic gymnastics when they had a gold medal performance from Emil Saravoa on floor.
Floor.
It's just brilliant, and he put so much work into developing his craft. Now his teammates Frans Kaard and Jonas Kukkonen about to perform on floor, rather just Frans Kaard. Kukkonen will not be performing on floor.
Floor, Frans Kaard,
A look out over the Palo Vesuvio, in the city of Naples. And what a pleasure it is that the Universiade has come back
Romania,
to the nation it began in.
Robert Giuzza.
It was 1959, the first ever Universiade hosted in Turin. It is here once more in one of the world's great seats of learning, of higher education. If you really do want to discover a little bit about this area, you can do a lot worse than by digging into the history of higher education in Italy, particularly looking at the University of Naples, a very esteemed institution. It's been around for a very long time indeed. It was actually mentioned in the opening ceremony of the games last night, quite rightly. Stefano Patron to compete on parallel bars for Italy. His handstand is neatly stabilised, as is that one. Less so that time. He's got nice technique as a gymnast. Technique did desert him a little bit in the Diamantov and then into the handstand. He got it back in time to hit the dismount though.
Floor, Austria, Vincent.
Showed a nice moment of recovery during that routine, Stefano Patron. His handstand work, for the most part, looked most secure. Judges really looking for clearance of the bar line. Here's where the Diamantov was problematic. and that perhaps led into that overarch on the handstand. But he recovered his composure to dismount well. .55 for execution for Patron, a total of 14.05. Good score on the parallel bars. The third
Parallel
strongest
bars.
we've actually had on parallel bars so
Italy,
far.
Andrea Russo.
So there is quite a gap between Under and the rest of the pack. Under's on 14.8 and Karimi 14.15 as the second best. But he's certainly in contention. Stefano Patron. Andrea Russo. Handstand not quite as secure as the first couple. Or a bit of pacing with the hands. Interesting routine, it's got some original composition to it. And they've really given a great account of themselves, the Italian team. Certainly shown that they're ready for this occasion, ready to embrace the privilege of competing in their host nation. Nice bit of power in that travel.
Floor, Vincent Johan Hoek.
And the pike to dismount was nicely executed all round. Andrea Russo has scored a 14, 8.3 for execution to a 5-7 difficulty score. Maybe just a few moments in the middle of the routine where he lost marks here and there. But that is the fourth strongest score that we've had so far on the parallel bars. Now, what of Marco Saruggerio?
Parallel bars.
His
Italy,
best work
Marco
so far
Saruggerio.
has been the still rings, 14.05. He is in a qualification position at the moment for the rings, Saruggerio, but a bit of a tentative one in 6th place. This is where he did perform pretty well at the European Championships in Glasgow 2018. We've got a good travel down the bars there. Well dismounted, Marco Saruggerio performs a nice parallel bars routine indeed.
Floor,
That
Austria,
brings
Alexander
Italy's
Benda.
routine to an end. Nice bit of camaraderie between Saruggerio and Thorpe.
Horizontal bar, Kazakhstan, Milad Karimi. Parallel bars, Australia, Heath Thorpe.
.14 for Saluggerio, so that is a score that will count. And they really have been consistent, the Italians. 14.1, 14.05, 14 on parallel bars. This the final stages of the work from Alexander Bender of Austria on floor. Touch of deviation from the diagonal. At the moment it's a score of 13.15, that's the qualification mark for the men's floor final, but with the caveat, the massive caveat, that we've still got the strongest teams to come. Brings to a close the penultimate rotation for Alexander Bender, who's doing all pieces.
Floor, Switzerland, Martino Morosi. Parallel bars, Australia, Hudson Irwin.
Now the gymnast from Australia, Heath Thorpe, has just scored 12.1 on the parallel bars. That is Australia's first parallel bars routine.
Horizontal bar, USA, Alexander
12.9 for Alexander Bender on the floor exercise. It's been a pretty consistent score across the board. Martino Morosi. Where he's from, Blenio in Switzerland. It's a beautiful small town. It's really cut into the hillside of South Switzerland. Only 2,000 people there, vast majority of whom have Italian as a first language. And Morosi won the bronze medal on floor at his first senior Swiss championships last year. Tidy looking open arm handstand. Big side step on the final tumbling pass, which is slightly a shame because that was going very well until that moment, and I think he rather knows that, Martino Morosi. Let's have a look back at the best work of Martino Morosi on the floor. His first tumbling pass was really well stabilised. Just a little side step coming out of the twist. The gymnasts do have to show close control work. It has to be balanced, not just tumbling passes one after t'other. Yes, he wasn't quite right rotating out of those twists. Just left himself a little bit too much to do physically to stabilise the landing.
Floor, Switzerland, Marco Walter.
.6 for Morosi has him in third place in qualification for the floor final. You just wonder if that little side step on the landing right at the conclusion of the final tumbling pass could be costly, because he might be there or thereabouts. So Australia have had Hudson Irwin and Ethorpe scored 12.4 and 12.1 respectively for their work on the parallel bars. As we stay on the floor to look at Marco Volta. Nice rapid twisting to begin that tumbling pass. Very secure, sticking his landings. Get some nice rotations into those twists. It's a very good routine, actually, from Marco Volta. Crowd enjoyed it a great deal. The traditional cowbells being rung in support of the Swiss athletes. A few nations like to use those. They did well.
Fifth rotation is over. È terminata la quinta rotazione. Attendiamo un attimo per il cambio d'attrezzo. Please wait for change of apparatus.
Well, as we look back at this routine from Marco Volta, we'll have the opportunity in a moment to give you some clarification on where things stand with Italy and Australia. We didn't see any of Australia's parallel bars routines, but the strongest mark was a 13 for Michael Tone.
Cambio d'attrezzo.
What are the score for Marco Volta? Certainly one of the better floor routines we've seen so far. Whether that will be reflected in the judges' evaluation is anyone's guess. They see things that I certainly don't see. That's why they're judges and I'm not. But it certainly looked to be a pretty compelling display.
Sixth rotation with mixed group 4.
Now we are moving
Floor.
on to the final
Romania,
rotation.
Kazakhstan, USA, Denmark. Mixed group 5. Pommel horse, Finland, Austria, Switzerland. And horizontal bar, Australia, Italy.
And there actually is the score for Marco Volta, 14.25, so it is indeed the best floor routine we've seen so far. And he now leads the way in terms of the qualification for the floor final. Andrea Russo dropping down into second position. Ivan Tikhonov is occupying third.
3 minutes warm-up.
These are the gymnasts who will conclude their campaign on the floor. In the team competition, Italy have a score of 137.925, Australia 129.35, so continuing to open up a little gap. Italy set themselves up well to sit back and enjoy the third and final subdivision solely as spectators. And just remind you, those nations that we have to come: Japan, we also have the Russian Federation. They will be paired together and going around in the Olympic order. And that is the sequence that begins with the floor and ends with the horizontal bars. I'm sure many of you know very well indeed. And that's because Japan took the team gold at the last Universiade. There is no Ukraine team, so the Russian Federation, who took the bronze, they will go as the second strongest group, if you like, being paired with Japan. South Korea and Chinese Taipei also paired together. South Korea with the fourth strongest in 2017, Chinese Taipei with the fifth. And then we will have France and Canada paired together going round. Those are the nations that were 6th and 8th respectively in Chinese Taipei a couple of years ago. Certainly is going to be very tough as a prospect to dislodge Japan from retaining their team title. When you look at the gymnasts they're bringing with them, Kazuma Kaya and the Tanagawa brothers, can the Russian Federation intercede with Ilya Kibatas, Kirill Prokopev and Ivan Stretovic? Always the opportunity for the odd shock here and there in a team competition, and certainly in an all-around one, and that will come in a couple of days' time. Men's and women's all-around competitions to take place
is over.
Both the day after tomorrow.
Floor, Romania, Roland Modoianu.
Representing Romania on floor, Roland Modoianu.
Horse, Finland, Franz Carr. Horizontal bar, Australia, Hudson Irwin.
Meanwhile, Hudson Irwin is starting on the horizontal bar for Australia in the team event. Modoianu was a touch piked on that landing. Didn't have the easiest of transitions into the handstand. Better that time. A little bit of a step back as he landed. Modoianu, not the tidiest of routines that he's ever produced. Gymnast who competed at the European Championships in Poland a couple of months ago. And this a reminder of what we have just seen from Roland Modoianu. Took him a little while to make his senior international debut, having competed at the Junior European Championships in 2014. Have to be patient. A lot of these gymnasts, sometimes international opportunities are hard to come by, especially if you've got a strong squad.
Pommel horse, Austria, Vincent Johann Hook.
Just feel there might be quite a few opportunities for execution deductions for the judges here.
Horizontal bar, Australia, Michael Tone.
Hudson Irwin at 12.5 on the horizontal bar. So that's his competition brought to a close, and he finishes with his strongest piece. Still awaiting the score for Roland Mudoianu. 12.35 for him. Milad Karimi of Kazakhstan. First chance we've had to have a look at this gymnast. He starts with a lovely opening tumbling pass. Started to get out there in the World Cup circuit, getting to floor finals, particularly in Baku early this year. He was actually the top qualifier, but didn't have a good routine in the final, but he's looking really secure here. Now, this is very accomplished. Well, he was a silver medalist on the floor at the Asian Championships very recently. Many of you will know he's come back from a very bad break of the arm at the Melbourne World Cup last year. Missed a huge chunk of the 2018 season, but he looks better every time we see him in competition. A very nice floor routine from Milad Karimi of Kazakhstan. Second Universiade for him, and he's in buoyant form, having won the all-around at that Kazakhstan Cup earlier this year. It's a very good competition for him. Much to be pleased about.
Floor.
Nice moment between
USA, Alexander Diak.
Karimi and the American gymnast Steven Nedoroshik. Sense of real appreciation for what he'd just seen, the American.
Martino Morosi.
The judges will appreciate a lot of that as well. His apex in the tumbling passes is quite tidy. His foot was a little turned inwards as he landed that one. That nice open-armed approach to the handstand, which is obviously a touch more difficult than the straight-armed handstand, why so many gymnasts opt to use it. But this is going to surely contend for being the finest floor routine that we've seen. We'll endeavour to bring you more on that in due course. Now to Martino Morosi, competing on the pommel horse. Dismounts well, Morosi. Now, has he done enough to get into all-around contention? It's going to be tight and very tough. Karimi, 14.55. Not only the best score that we've seen on floor, but Karimi is also leading the way in the all-around competition by almost 2 marks over Luis Porto of Brazil. So he's well positioned, Karimi. Yes, we've still got
Fifth
some
gold,
gymnasts
Australia,
to come in this
horizontal
rotation
bar.
in terms of all-around qualification. But Karimi has delivered a masterful performance on floor to finish. What about the conclusion to Morosi's campaign? He's only 19. Prospect of seeing him again in the Universiade in a couple of years' time. 11.975 is his score. Universiade moves on to Chengdu in the People's Republic of China in a couple of years.
Female horse, Switzerland, Marco Volte.
Just awaiting the score of Heath Thorpe on the horizontal bar. And then it will be the turn of the Italian team. Michael Tone of Australia scored a 12.35 for his horizontal bar routine. Yeah, it's just the weight on for the score for Heath Thorpe.
Denmark, Luca Lapia.
So Irwin 12.5, Tone 12.35. Judges just taking
Horizontal
a moment to
bar.
really work out Heath Thorpe's
Marco
score.
Sarrugerio, Italia.
For Heath Thorpe, the mark is in 12.85 for him. So he's not in contention to make the individual final for the horizontal bar. Italy's first gymnast on the horizontal bar, Marco Sarrugerio. Probably he would say not his favoured apparatus. Starts with a secure-looking Yamawaki nonetheless. Straight Kachev. Got some lovely height on the straddle, Kachev. Looking really nice, this. Fine work indeed from Marco Sarrugerio to bring to a close his qualification campaign and his team final. And he's grown into this whole process, actually. Stronger scores later on in the competition, particularly rings and parallel bars. And he looked very comfortable here on the high bar. Nice wind up and wrap around into the dismount with small hop back. But it was well executed. 13.15 for Marco Sarrogerio. Not the most difficult routine, but what he did do, he did well.
Horizontal bar, Stefano
Patron
Italy.
is going to finish his campaign in this team final on the horizontal bar. Now, although he's become more well known for other pieces lately, in that junior European campaign of 2016, he was a good performer on the horizontal bar. Certainly got a bit of pace going, catches well. Huge roars of encouragement from the Italian team as he goes into a very nice dismount indeed. And there was just a moment for Stefano Patron at the end where he seemed to stop and think, do you know what, I've done it, and I've done it really well. Look of great relief.
Floor,
and now
Romania,
a big beaming
Robert
smile.
Giuza.
He's done well. He really has done well. The youngest of the three, just 20, and it's been a good performance across the board. One-armed giant is always a crowd pleaser, especially when it's done successfully by a home gymnast. But it was a technically proficient display. Not sure that it was quite as technically proficient as Sarrogerio's, but it certainly had a touch more difficulty to it. .13.3 for Stefano Patron. Indeed, a higher difficulty score, 5 for him. Actually, Patron at the moment, the second strongest performer in the all-around competition. 18 will make it through to the final. Andrea Russo of Italy. Final Italian gymnast to compete in this team competition. He links the two releases and catches to embolden his difficulty score, and then uses the cross-hand grip, which does the same. Just a touch loose there, and it's okay. His pirouette is stylish. He's roared on and he's landed it wonderfully. Andrea Russo brings Italy's team campaign to a most pleasing conclusion. So much for the home fans to cheer about and enjoy. They now will have to sit back and wait and see what these top 6 ranked teams do, but Italy have made it difficult for someone, that's for sure. They've produced a very good display. Lots of smiles all around the Pala Vesuvio. It's decent clearance on the bar in the first skill, goes straight back round into another release and catch. There's the third one. This was with the cross-hand grip or the mixed grip. Little feet just like that. Those of you new to the sport, they can
Ladies and
increase the
gentlemen,
difficulty.
that concludes this session. Stay with us for next subdivision, which is coming up at 17 and 30. Si conclude così questa suddivisione. Rimanete con noi per la suddivisione successiva che sarà l'ultima e prevede poi al termine la premiazione che avrà inizio alle 17:30.
And it's the best one. It's 13.7 for Andrea Russo. 5.5 difficulty. Had nice features just to build that difficulty score. Did Andrea Russo, and as things currently stand, Russo is the joint third strongest performer on the horizontal bar, so he's in with a chance of making it to that final.
Per cortesia, rimanete nelle vostre zone.
And there is confirmation as well that Russo is the top performer in the all-around at the moment, ahead of Milad Karimi and Stefano Patron in third place. So very good for Italy with two performers in the top three of the all-around at the moment. But still, we have a lot more to come in the final subdivision as we look down the order. Not all of these gymnasts low down have attempted all pieces in the all-around, hence why some scores look extremely low indeed. From a team point of view, Italy 164.925, Australia 154.7. The final standings for those two nations. We have 6 more teams to come in the next subdivision of competition. And we'll leave you with some of the moments of this session of artistic gymnastics. And I will see you, I do hope indeed, in a little while for the conclusion of this men's team final. Until then, goodbye.